Okay, so here's the cool thing. We just made another expense. We called it ACH transaction, so there was nothing physically that I printed. What did that do? What did that do?
Should have taken down your bank.
Okay, cool. Bank balance went down, which would have affected my assets. Correct. Okay, what else did it do? Which can did we put that in?
We put it in sales tax.
Under wages. Watch this. Let's go to
So
P&L.
then it had to be an expense then.
Yeah. Let's go right here. Watch. Click. Scroll down to your expenses. Look at this. People, wages, sales staff, 500. Automatically showed up. Said, I took some money out, but I wanted to attribute it to my expense portion of my P&L. Okay? Does that kind of make sense? I'm going to go like this right here just to make it a little smaller. People, 500. Expenses. Here's my whole P&L right here. My revenue, my cost of goods, and my expenses. That $500 I just made for that bonus, it came out automatic ACH. I didn't do any sort of accounting. All I'm doing is telling the story of what's happening. But because we have the horse in front of the cart, we're just following along with what you're doing, okay? Like, I could be doing this, Johnny could be doing this, Sally could be doing this. And guess what the whole thing is doing? Okay, cool. They're all going this way. But it's all virtually connected. It's all date stamped, time stamped, who did it, what's going on. It's all categorized. We know how far it's been advanced, who advanced it. Like, that's the kind of accounting level that we're taking it to, okay? We haven't done any, you haven't heard me use the word debit and credit unless I was explaining it to the account, okay? But literally, we're just doing transactions. And what's doing is it's automatically flowing it into the balance sheet. It's automatically hitting our P&L. Like, let's go check our bank balance, okay, on our balance sheet, because it should have gone down even more. Home, balance sheet, go get it. Where are we at? Oh, sweet, nice. It was 6.8, and it was 6.2, and now it's 5.7, okay? If I have questions, guess what? Go deeper. Go look at it. What do you got here? What's going on? You know, like, where's my potential problems? Do I have any problems? Sweet, I'm happy. I'm good to go right now, okay? Like, literally, as you do some of these transactions, it'll automatically flow. Yesterday, at the end of the day, we were talking about this particular game, the game of golf, okay? Now, if you're going straight down the fairways or you're on the greens and you're doing these normal processes, just like we've been doing right now, guess what? You're playing the game. You know exactly where your numbers are. We can automatically help you. If I start kind of being funny and like, okay, what if I do this? What if I do this? Guess what's going to happen? You're still playing the game, but you're going to land in the sand trap or out in the trees. Or but we'll let you know where you are, ideally. Okay? So like, if you play the game, we're flowing, it's all linear, okay? Blunk, 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 blunk. What's your different little phases that you're going through, okay? Good data, advance it. Good data, advance it. Oh, we got some cause and effect relationships. Let's bounce this around. Boom, 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 boom. Whatever's happening, okay? We've been playing tons and tons, but I wanted to let you know, as long as you're playing in similar ways, we know what's going on there. There's ways you can tweak it. Like you could be like, watch this, I'm going to do this, this. You can the flexibility's there. You could mess the system up, but it's also going to have a big old red flag and say, by the way, Joe, you're the one who messed this up. Are you going to fix it? It's kind of like your kids. Like you don't necessarily clean up every single mess that they make. You sometimes are like, okay, you are going to get the broom, and you are going to clean up this mess, and then all of a sudden they're like, that wasn't that fun. Let's see if I can do it better next time. Okay, so that's the way we play. It's literally the game of business, okay? If you're playing and you think about golf and playing on the fairways and the greens, it's fairly smooth and or straightforward. There still might be some challenges. That's part of the thing. But if you're playing the game, we're automatically pulling these pieces in for you, okay? Cool. Let's go back to Shannon. Any other comments?
Yeah, he was just asking, it sounds like almost wanting to see the reverse side, which would probably be recurring invoices, which he realized as well. But how about an automatic ACH deposit to us from a customer who pays a regular monthly payment, such as a subscription,
okay,
like
perfect.
You guys deal with your recurring invoices?
Awesome, awesome. So this is basically the reverse of paying an employee an automatic amount, whether it's changing or not. Like that doesn't necessarily always have to be the 500 that's going to Adilas demo. It could be like, oh, he gets 500 this time. And technically, you could run it all the way through payroll. So, oh, he worked a ton this week. And like, That's variable, but if you're getting reoccurring, here's how we track reoccurring. Guess what? Adilas does this for Adilas all the time, okay? So technically there are two different players that are involved. We're going to go to the map. I'm just going to kind of explain it really quick. So if we're talking about reoccurring invoices and money coming in, eventually we want money to hit here, right? And we know that we're going to have customers tied to invoices, okay? But we want this to be reoccurring, infinity, okay? And eventually feeding this section. So it's going invoices, deposits, banks. Yeah, look at all this reoccurring. This is a revenue stream, okay? That's awesome. Here's how you play. The first thing you need to do is you have to have a customer. You have to have an invoice, okay? So that you know, once again, the law of deference. Guess what? All this money that's coming in, eventually where do you want it to hit? Like eventually. One, the bank. That's very important. Two, guess what the top piece of your P&L is? Revenue, okay? So basically, this whole stream right here is going to end up feeding your P&L, okay? Not a problem. Here's how this works. First off, we're going to go in here, and we're in a bowling pro shop right now, okay? Let's say that there's a membership, okay? Let's go actually see if we happen to have a little thing that says membership. Okay, I don't see anything. So let's go ahead and just create an invoice. For right now, we'll call it part number other rather than creating a whole service item, okay? So watch this. I'm going to say, you know what? I'm actually going to create a new card. There's lots of different ways you can do it, okay? I'm currently in the Sacramento area, and we're going to say customer invoice, start the cart. I'm going to add an item. I'm not sure which permissions these guys have. Let's see what we have. Part number other, advanced add to cart. If you don't have the little double plus, you need to add that as a permission, okay? Click. Okay, let's say quantity one, and Shannon, give me an amount. How much are they paying for this membership to be part of this golf?
Monthly membership?
This is a monthly membership.
$24.95.
Okay, perfect. $24.95. And ideally, if you're really doing this, you would actually set yourself up as a real live, I want to use a physical item. And if you want, we can even bounce in and do that too. But for right now, just to show you, basically you have one at $24.95. As soon as I leave that field, it'll do some of the calculations. This is actually non-taxable, so we're just going to call it miscellaneous. And instead of part number other, I'm basically going to say monthly membership for the pro shop. Whatever, okay. And ideally, you would know more what's going on. You add it to the cart. So we're currently in the invoice mode. We're trying to create an invoice. $24.95, no taxes. I need a customer. Let's go see who we have. Who do we have? We have Andy Wall and a Hillside Bowling Alley. Do we want to add a new customer or just assign it to Andy?
Andy.
Perfect. There's a link off to the side here that says assign to cart. Click. Andy Wall is now in here. Doesn't look like he owes me anything. And down here I got $24.95, and I'm going to say this is for the month of September. Or did we want to do August? We're still in August, but we're like 2 days away from September. So, I mean, monthly subscriptions get a little fuzzy when you start dealing with like, okay, is it always from the 1st to the end, or is it from the 29th to the 29th? And if you were playing that way, then I would say, I would automatically back that up to the 28th because you're going to have problems if the month of February doesn't always have a 29th, okay? So you kind of need to start thinking just a little bit more past that, okay? Month of September, thanks, whatever, like, whoa, thanks, checkout, boom, okay? And how did they pay me? Originally, you have to get your first payment or whatever's going to happen. Yeah, I wanted to sign up. Or maybe eventually say this was e-commerce and they paid for it. And once you get it, you're like, okay, sweet. Now I'm going to turn it into a recurring. So let's pretend that they actually paid $24.95 from a Visa card. Currently, this one does not have merchant processing set up through Adilas. You can see how it says Adilas plus the shopping cart equals this. If all you saw was the Visa, MasterCard, and different logos, you could actually click on it and do immediately, swipe the credit card, whatever you needed to do, okay? This one currently has not gone to that level. So say I swipe my card, it's on an independent system, I got a little receipt, I got an approval number, and I type it in. And I say create the invoice. Click. Here's my little thing, I hit print. They're standing right here, say for instance. I select the little printer that I wanted on my little teeny guy. I say print. It's going to just plop it off. There's my teeny little printer, and I now have it. Here's the important piece that's going to happen, Joe. Andy Wall paid $24.95 for his cool monthly membership. Okay. Now, this little guy is super important right here. This is the invoice number. What we're going to do is we actually have to use a master, and then we're going to end up kind of creating it. So I'm actually going to copy that. Or if you have your handy-dandy paper and pencil right next to you, you literally could just write it down, 128 or whatever. So now what we're going to do is we're going to actually go home, and I'm going to go to my invoice homepage. And I'm going to look to see if I actually have reoccurring, which I don't even see the link for it. It would be right here in the middle. So I know how to do that. Home, users, find Adilas demo, whoever you're dealing with. We're going to go under System Assets because this is a thing that we're trying to do. We're going to look for a silver one. And there it is, reoccurring invoices. Joe was actually here when we didn't have any numbers, but it really helps. So just so you know, these numbers will change, but it'll at least get you close to the, it was in the 60s. Okay, cool. I can browse that either than, say, clear down to the bottom where you're like 100 and some odd permissions. They do change, and we do add permissions as they come in. This is just for a numbering system to kind of help people stay together. We turn that permission on. We said edit the payee.
But it's probably always going to stay silver.
That's going to stay silver because that's a specialty one.
60s is silver.
Yeah.
Joe loves the numbers.
Okay, cool. It does help, and we keep getting these ideas and feedback, and so we try to integrate it into the system. So at this point, I have invoice 128. It exists. It's now part of my revenue stream. I have it here. I currently am holding the monies. Nothing's physically been deposited yet, so it's kind of temporarily like in a corner of the waiting room, kind of like in the cash register. Or if I did a Visa transaction, it's technically on my gateway and eventually will be batched, which will hit my bank. Okay, so like there's some monies that are sitting out there. There's some pieces, some cause and effects. What I needed to do is I wanted to make this thing infinity. Let's set this thing up so it reoccurs again and again and again and again. You click on invoices, and now that I have the link, there's a reoccurring invoice link. So I click right here. I come, it currently says I don't have anything. We're just barely setting this up. Like we just added the permission. So here's how easy it is to set up a reoccurring. You say create. What is the master invoice number? This is where that special ID number is very important. I just went paste. 128. That's going to be the master. It's going to be monthly, and I'm going to have it reoccur on the 1st. So you'll notice that some of these are only required for weekly time periods or annual. There's lots of different ways that you can do it, okay? We're doing monthly. 128 monthly, do it on the 1st. And the first time that it's actually going to reoccur is I'm going to skip the month of September because like I'm literally like a day or two away from it. So I'm going to go like this. Get my first reminder out to 10/1, okay? And add it. Good. So at this point, successfully added the reoccurring invoice item. Okay. So at this point, I'm basically done. Okay. If you have something that's on your gateway, you might actually have to go to your gateway and kind of say, oh, this payment that just went through, I now have all of the information. Set this up as my reoccurring. So I'm going to draw just really quick how it would work if you're doing literal ACH transaction thing. Okay. This is Adilas. Okay. And this is your gateway where your Visa, MasterCard stuff is going, okay? We created the original. Then we said, let's turn that original into infinity. Pretend that that's an infinity sign, the reoccurring, okay? Well, ideally, when the original transaction created, it hit my gateway, okay? And eventually, I'll get it all batched out. I'll eventually end up putting it into my bank once everything clears. This has an element of time because it has to clear. Just because you did a transaction doesn't mean that you automatically get it. It might be the next day, it might be 48 hours. Depending on your gateway, they're going to hold that money for a second, okay? Once everything clears and I'm ready to kind of do it, I have to go to my gateway and say, you know what, you also need to be infinity for that little thing. So I've got infinity on my gateway, I've got infinity inside of Adilas, and then it's going to slowly be processing. Here's how we do it. We know what's going to come, so this is like your reminder system, and this is what physically happens, and then we get batch statements. Hey, this was actually approved, because guess what? If it doesn't get approved, I might sit on that invoice for a little bit, or contact them, or do whatever. Like, you literally have different parties, okay? This is your gateway. This is external. This is a whole different company, and this is your Adilas piece, and this is your bank piece. So we're kind of playing these little games back and forth when you're getting into literal ACH transactions through how it works, okay?
It's whoever you went through with your merchant account.
Correct, okay? So this is USA ePay. This is, you know, Authorized.net, First Data, whatever. These are your gateways, your big gateways. This is Adilas, this is your bank. What happens is, the cool thing is, Adilas throws it off to the gateway. They hold it. We don't keep any of the important information. What we hold is, what is your invoice number? What's your customer information? And I'll just keep reoccurring them, okay? All of the secure pieces are here, almost behind this little wall that's built on the gateway, okay? It's called PCI compliance. It's all sorts of processing compliant type stuff we do. The cool thing is if we have Adilas and this is our gateway and this is your bank, well, this might be your three-way transaction, okay, as far as how different things are happening. But guess what? You can technically have as many banks as you needed, okay, and they can all be interacting here as well if you needed multiple banks. Adilas sends to the gateway, and then it attaches to whatever bank is happening. Or a totally different customer is doing the same transaction, but maybe they use this bank, okay? The banking entities, this is your merchant part, this is your gateway part, and this is the Adilas part. That's kind of like how credit card transactions work. I'm kind of liking this marker. Okay, so we just did this. We created this little invoice. Let's go back to the reoccurring invoice homepage. Now currently right here it still says that nothing's going on. Let's blast it out a little bit. Let's go to 10.1.
Joe said thanks for the visual.
Okay, cool. Here's what we got. So on 10.1 we have one invoice that needs to be duplicated. Okay, if I click on this, this is like my reminder system of what's going on. Click. $24 for Andy Wall. Sweet. Do I want to edit this value? Do I want to view the master? Do I want to see what he's done year to date? Do I want to see when it was printed? Do I want to see, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? Okay, this is Andy's thing. This is how easy it would be to actually do it. Click. Any sort of notes? Thanks. This is for October. Look at this. You're advancing the date to the next one when I do it. Okay. This is new, but once it actually creates it, it'll start saying, hey, here's my new dates and dates and dates and dates. It kind of starts rolling that process forward. It's really not too tough. The cool thing is right here, because this reminder is on 10.1, I'm going to actually show you something that's kind of cool. We're going to go history reports, okay, which basically pulls, what did we do today? Here's everything that we've already done today, okay? It's all being categorized into a little miniature piece of this brick wall, okay? Today, we've done this, expenses, deposits, you know, invoices, all this. It's sticking it into one little hole on this brick wall, okay? What we're doing right here is I'm going to show you that if I actually said, what is going on 10.1? Say I wanted to look at this and I said, go get it. Guess what's going to automatically show up? Guess what? You currently have one recurring invoice that's due on that day for $24.95. This is over a month in the future. What you virtually just did is say we're working on this brick right here. You literally went, shoo, and you put it in a whole nother brick. You're like, you know what? Eventually I'm going to get to you, but that's going to be my reminder system, okay? So your current day, you're working in one little brick of time, okay? Pretend like one brick is one day. So you have years, you have months, you have weeks, you have days. And then inside of that, you have even little teeny spots. And I know it doesn't look like you can stick a whole lot in that, but this is just the analogy, if you will. Like, your bricks could be as big as they need to, but each day is where you start stacking that information, okay?
You're calling it a reminder, but you really, once you set this up and you have the gateway and everything set up, it's just going to do it automatically. And when you say reminder, it's just, oh yeah, I remember I have
Okay,
this. You're not going to have to do anything on October 1st, are you?
October 1st, you would come here and you say, what do I have to do today? Okay. Oh, I have 1, or I have 10, or I have 50. You click it, and you can literally do 10 at a time.
So you have to sit,
This is a virtual reminder, okay, because here's what happens. What if somebody dies and they fall off and you do this and this and this, and like, basically inside of Adilas, we're going to prompt you, hey, this is what you have for your reoccurrence. On your gateway, where the actual payment is happening, they're going to automatically try to charge that card, charge that card, charge that card. But what happens if all of a sudden it freaks out and they're like, hey, oh, like it totally insufficient funds, or whoa, 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 you got to call for a validation, or like whatever. Okay, they're going to automatically reoccur theirs automatically, and they're going to give you a report, so you're going to be able to match up what you had versus what they had. Okay, because it's technically 2 separate entities that are kind of playing together, and then we're trying to marry them so that we can get it all into the deposit correctly. So say I had, I can't prep it. If I wanted to, I could build this invoice out right now, and it would be sitting in that little brick on 10/1. Hey, not only was I supposed to be a reoccurring, I've already been made and created. I'm just kind of waiting for my payment. Okay, you can build it out as far as you wanted to if you wanted to, but you're playing with stuff that's already futuristic. What we do is we basically just prompt you and say, hey, let's actually create another one just so you can.
Okay,
Yes,
so
go ahead.
basically you set it up, and so the gateway is actually going to charge it on 10/1. What you're saying is on 10/1, I need to come back and make it an invoice so that it shows on my, so it's correct for my Adilas account.
Correct. So this is the gateway out here, okay? They say you give us something and you set it up on reoccurring, you have to actually coordinate with them. Like just
Right.
because you have a credit card account doesn't mean they'll let you do reoccurring. You have to tell them, I have memberships, I have subscriptions. Oh, okay, cool. They basically add settings on their side saying, okay, cool, let this happen. Okay?
Right.
Once this happens, they send you, and you might even be back here, okay? So you're a user. They send you a report, okay? If you're working in Adilas, you know what should happen, but it may not happen. What if you had 4 of them set up, but only 3 of them happened,
Okay.
and one of them totally died, okay? Like, you're sitting here saying, oh, I know this is how much I'm expecting to come in, but it hasn't really happened yet. But it's prepped and it's ready, and I don't have to go recreate these. It's literally like click, 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 do. And I just made 4 invoices that fast. Like, it takes the person who's doing it, then they might have to be like, okay, let's marry this up. I'm going to go log into my gateway so I have individual information, and I'm going to record it. So they're recording back and forth. This is Adilas, and the user is then going back and forth between the gateway, making sure everything's good to go. Sweet, I've got it. Cool. Now Adilas is going to make the deposit. Because
Okay,
the bank technically had already made a deposit, right? The banking entity pulled it out of the gateway. This is bank, gateway, Adilas. This is a user who's independently just going into the gateway. Okay.
Okay, so basically what it is you are waiting for the gateway to send you notice saying, yes, it was successful, I have it.
Correct, because it happens all the time. Insufficient funds or do not honor and whatever. So like basically you created something, and say this has been going on for years and years and years, well eventually this card is going to expire. And the only way that you know that necessarily, this is the way we do it, is we basically let it come back as a denial. Okay? Oh, I guess I need to check that. Otherwise I'm not going to be worried about it. It's going to be just happening. So we have one person who kind of monitors this little teeny process and just kind of watches what's going on. Okay?
That's kind of what Joe just asked too. Like, would it make sense to set the reoccurring date of the invoice after the verification of funds, or maybe after you deposit it?
Oh, when the actual invoice date is?
Mm-hmm.
What we do is we want to kind of know how much money do we have coming in this next week or whatever. Okay. So what we do is we set it up because we have people who are like, hey, I'd like your service, and I'm on the 15th, and oh, I'm on the 12th. We have reoccurring invoices almost every single day of the month that happen. Okay. Other than the last couple days, like anything that's on the last couple days, we'll either slide it forward or slide it backwards. We don't want it, anything that's higher than 28, we don't want to play because it doesn't work on every month, okay? So we slide it between the 1 to 28, and then we just let it keep happening and happening and happening, and we monitor it, and anything that's not a reoccurring, like we have reoccurring that's paid by check as well, but we want to get that in the mail. So what we do is we'll go to our reoccurring, and we'll down through it and be like, I want this one, this one, this one, go ahead and create those. And all the ones that are credit cards, I'm going to kind of leave them sitting in my system. They'll prompt me, like they haven't been fully done yet until something happens. These other ones, I'm going to take it, print it out, put it in the mail, get it off. I could potentially, the October 1 bill, I could start printing that out right now if I actually did it, stick it in the mail, and then hopefully I get my payment by that time. That's totally chasing money when you start saying check, okay? But if you're talking reoccurring credit card, the reoccurring credit card will happen on the gateway often as quick as as often as you told it to set up, okay? You may or may not get those funds based on approvals or max limits or whatever fraudulent activity. Basically, there's lots of little checks and balances. So how we set it up is kind of almost a virtual reminder system that you can do in bulk, but you already know values and quantities, and then as you advance the ball, it keeps track. Oh, looks like you've advanced 2 of the 3 or 10 of the, of the 20 invoices. There's still these other ones that are hanging out. It's literally all part of those bricks, okay? It still resides on that day. So I wouldn't say necessarily post-dating the invoice type thing, okay, on that, if that makes sense. Like, that's not something that I'd be like, oh yeah, I'll automatically post-date these invoices. I kind of want it to happen, and then I'm going to deal with it.